What's up, guys? Pastor Tyler here. I wanted to share with you just a little devotional thought during this crazy time of COVID and all the chaos and the frustration that comes from it. On the seventh day of every week, the Jews would observe the Sabbath. That was a day of rest that they observed in remembrance of God resting after his creation. Right? God made the world in 6 days. On the seventh day, God rested. So when God set apart his people, one of the commandments that he gives them is to remember the Sabbath and to keep it holy. So on the Sabbath day, the Jews honored God by doing no work. And so the Sabbath became a sacred observation to the Jewish community. It was something that became a source of identity and purpose, something they took great pride and value in. But Sabbath wasn't just a weekly observance. The Jews also observed what was called a sabbatical year, called Shemitah, or a year of release. And so just as the law calls for the Jews to work for 6 days and then on the seventh day to rest, the year of the Sabbath, or the sabbatical year, was the Jews called to work the lands for 6 years and then on the seventh year to let the land rest. So during the Shemitah year, all debts were forgiven, the fields were left fallow or untended, and working them was forbidden, and private lands were made publicly accessible. So this was seen by the Jews as an exciting time, as a time of refreshment and rejuvenation. See, Shemitah, like Sabbath, was a gift of rest from God for his people. And after this season of renewing, of rejuvenating, the people could then go back to working the fields, working the lands, with a renewed sense of vigor and passion. And what this was in part designed to do was, one, to give them rest. God designed, and that's the easiest thing for us to overlook, is that we need rest. God didn't rest on the seventh day because he couldn't take it. He rested as an example for us. He rested because we need rest. God designed us in a way. He knows what we need, and he knows that we need rest. And it's one of the easiest things, especially in our overly busy, overly complicated society. It's one of the easiest things for us to neglect and to justify neglecting. And we'll focus on so many sins and so many things that other people do. Look at this behavior, look at that behavior, but we really neglect addressing the fact that we are called and commanded by God to rest. That rest is a gift from God that we need to observe. And so the Jews had it built into their structure, built into their communal society. It was a part of their communal identity. And it's something that I think we could really learn from, is the importance and the understanding of the value of rest. But the law goes a step further. And so after 7 sabbatical cycles, the Jews would observe what was called a year of Jubilee. So this occurs so 7 cycles of 7 years, 49. The 50th year was the year of Jubilee. During the year of Jubilee, all debts are canceled. All slaves are emancipated. Now, remember, the Jewish concept of slavery was very different than what we think of. It was typically a form of indentured servitude. If you couldn't pay your bills, if you didn't have crops, if you didn't own your own land, you could basically hire yourself out. So their version of it was a little bit, it was actually considerably different than our understanding of it. But all slaves were emancipated, all debts were canceled, and agricultural work was forbidden. The year of Jubilee was essentially designed to be a return to God's design, to how things were intended. The playing fields were evened, everyone's given a fresh start, the fields went unworked, and yet those fields continued to produce fruit. And this was a reminder to the people of God that what makes the crop grow is not their effort, but God's work. It was a reminder to them of who is really in charge, who they really need to be dependent on, because it's so easy, the more we work and the more we do, for us to start relying and depending on ourselves. And so Sabbath in its law, and Sabbath in this year of Jubilee, and the years of Sabbath and the days of Sabbath were designed to help remind us who we are dependent on. It was designed to give us rest and to see, look, even when we rest, the world goes on and God is still in control, and it's okay. It was a return to God's design. A reminder that God makes things grow, that we are to be reliant on him and dependent on him because we need God, but God doesn't need us. The fields continue to produce fruit even when we didn't work them, because God was the one that made those harvests grow. And these were things that were given to God, to his people, given from God to his people, to help them understand, to give them rest, and so that the nutrients in the soil of their life could be rejuvenated, so that they could grow, because we work more effectively when we take time to rest. See, life is all about perspective. And COVID has been this incredibly frustrating, incredibly aggravating thing, especially for those of us who have a heart to serve and to engage in godly community, being told that we can't, trying to maintain distancing. All these things are incredibly frustrating. But church, I want to encourage you with this. God has always required rest from his people. And we excuse it and we justify why we don't, and we dismiss our need for it, but it doesn't change the fact that God commanded us. One of the 10 commandments is to remember the Sabbath. And we really, honestly, most of us don't do a very good job. I, especially myself, do not do a good job of resting, because there's so much that I want to do, so much I want to get done. And it is so easy for me to go, it's not that big a deal. I can deal with it. I'll rest later. I can sleep when I'm dead. It's fine. But God tells us to rest. He's always required that. And rest is not a burden. Rest is a gift. It's a gift that we often neglect, but it's a gift. See, in rest, the tank of our life is refueled. In rest, the soil of our life is nutrients continue to return to it. We will restore, we rejuvenate, we renew ourselves in rest. We have a unique opportunity, as frustrating as COVID is, and I'm not by any means saying it's a good thing, but that we know from Romans 8:28, God works all things together for the good of those who love him, is that there is an opportunity amidst this frustration, amidst this pandemic storm, for us to replenish our spiritual nutrients, for us to refill our gas tanks, to renew ourselves. See, we have an opportunity to tend to our soil, to grow ourselves, to deepen ourselves, and to mature ourselves in our relationship with Jesus. We have the opportunity to use this rest to enrich and to deepen, so that when we come back together, so that when we can serve again, we're serving from a deeper place, a place of fulfilling, a place of overflow. And we're serving with a remembrance that God is the one that makes it grow. God is the one that makes it work. It's not our effort that is essential to the process. It's God's work. And so it gives us that reliance on him. We have this opportunity to remind ourselves how to rely on God, how to depend on God, how to turn to God. Because church, we serve best when we serve from a position of gospel-centeredness. We serve best when we serve from a place of abiding in Jesus. And so we have this opportunity to grow so that we can serve better, so that we can lead better, so that we can love better. Because we're not serving from an empty tank. We're serving from a full one. We're serving from a growth, from a place of deeper relationship with Jesus. See, the deeper our roots grow, the more we can lead others to a deeper relationship with Jesus through our service and through our love. So I know it's frustrating, and believe me, there's no one more frustrated by all of this stuff than me. But life is about perspective. And we can choose to take this and see this frustration now as an opportunity for us to grow our relationship with God, for us to rest in him and to spend time with him. The Psalm says, be still and know that I am God, right? There's something that we are, most of us, bad at. But we have an opportunity because of this to rest without that same feeling of pressure, without that same feeling of guilt, without that same feeling of shame that many of us have when we're not actively involved every second of every day in something. Church, let's rest. Let's grow. Let's use this time so that when we come back renewed and rejuvenated and restored, and we come back with a greater passion, a greater knowledge, a greater intimacy with Jesus, so we come back more effective than we would have been had we not had to take this time and rest anyway. I hope this is an encouragement to you guys, and I want to be putting some things out there just little bits at a time, just as a means of kind of absorbing and growing together, because this is a hard time. And it's a hard time that we don't have to do alone. And in every tragedy, in every struggle, there is a great opportunity. And I think that the situation that we're in does afford us some really unique opportunities to grow and challenge ourselves. So, God bless. cannot wait for this thing to be done so that we can move on and return. The year of the sabbatical year, the Shemitah that we are in, has some challenges. But I cannot wait to see what happens when we come back with that renewed passion and energy to pursue Jesus, and we can do so together.